and Instagram. Waiting for them to wake up. This is always the nerve-wracking portion. There you go. We are live on YouTube and we are live on. Here we go. We're live on Instagram. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning, Kurt, and hello to everybody. Welcome to another episode of Making Turbo Pit Fighter. I apologize for my raspy voice. I had band practice last night. I'm the singer and the screamer in charge of howling in our punk rock band, the Von Ghouls. We're not announcing any shows yet, but a couple of weeks, I think, we will be able to announce. Um, we have some stuff today on our rundown. I have a staple story from last week. I want to talk about my bucket money, and Kurt and I want to talk about showing you guys some pictures, which we'll be doing next week, including the Turbo Tableau. Kurt, what would you like to talk about today?
Right after this episode, we will be going into a second interview with a comic book store owner, Tom Cellini. I was actually just down in southern Delaware, Fenwick Island, his new location for comics and gaming. And wow, he's got a lot to share when it comes to diamond distribution and the comics
Yeah,
industry as a whole. So that's going to be super exciting. Prepping for IC3, which is in 2 Sundays from now. But I'm going to be unveiling a new collection of vintage risque humor comics. This is called The Swinger. It was done by a gentleman by the name of Vic Martin. I've collected all of the Swinger comics and then added 4 of his long-running Wildcat Man comics. But just a real quick, teaser, flip through some of his one gags, his 1-page gags and stuff. So I'll be talking and sharing more about this on not only here but also on Instagram, and it'll probably be sold on Gardner Francis Fox Library because it is part of the Fox Library imprint. And I have today the first of 2 pages. I'm going to be erasing or rubbing off the liquid masks to the first page of Cremita, the self-building robot, and then I'll be putting on the liquid masking and the liquid graphite, water-soluble graphite for page 2. So we're coming along. We're getting closer and closer to be completed and ready for Alex Turbin's Funk Zine. That's what I
we're
say.
we're also, when Kurt's finished, we're also going to go over that on the pod. We're going to go over the 2-pager. Um, and so you can preview it here before it goes over to Alex Turbin for the Funk Zine. I also shared last night on Instagram this new sketch, this new character. I had another sketch of her that was like the first sketch I made, but I've been doing some writing, and you can see here there's a lot of notes. And so this is just a drawing I made of this character. She's going to be pretty interesting. She's going to play in as one of Elevena's Super Squadron, but she will be the first human enhanced by 15-year-old Elevena in human trials. She will be rescued by Esoterra and the Casualties when she is a teenager, and she will have rare and unique quantum DNA markers. Oldest of 7, born in Niles, Michigan, USA. She grew to 6'6" at age 16, 6'8" by age 18, and that's where we're going to meet her. In the Substack, there will be a chapter upcoming about her attempted abduction and her rescue. She's going to be an early example of the vein adaptation. So we have to explain why everybody in the Turbo world has these veins on their face.
Well,
And so
a majority of them, like Turbo doesn't have them because she's
she's a glower.
special.
Right.
Yeah, she's a glower.
We're also going to talk about this weapon. I I hate that it came out looking like a lightsaber, but this is going to be the quantum cleaver,
It's like
aka
Thundar's sun sword.
right. This is actually, I don't know. I don't want it to be
Pretty
like,
sweet.
I don't want it to be like bright light. I don't know. I might I have these other colors I might start sticking in, but I want this to be like a special blade or a special thing. It's a reality cleaver, and it's going to change the outcomes of the superposition of quantum particles in its path. Anyway, talk more about that later. But for now, mystery weapon recovered from the site of the Q Druid massacre. It responds to Charvel's QDNA signature, and that's why Esoterra trained her and gave it to her. More is unknown than known about it, and the first use of it triggered the the vein adaptation phenomenon in the human race, just with some people at the beginning, and more people as radiation permeated the land. It was a natural human response to be able to withstand radiation, higher levels of radiation. Um, Also, there's going to be something called volcanic eyes, and it's going to be a genetic marker for certain people
Did
who
you
have
say volcanic? Oh, volcanic eyes.
volcanic eyes. Yeah.
I thought you said volcanic ice, and I was like, that sounds fucking cool as shit. What is that? I mean, volcanic eyes does
Yeah.
sound cool. I don't want to dismiss that, Jake, but come on,
Well,
volcanic ice.
well, folks, you just heard Kurt conceive of something new here. All he's got to do now is explain what it is, and we're off and running.
I gotta
Uh,
draw a picture. I gotta draw a picture.
yeah, that's how beautiful things happen. But um, yeah, there'll be a a genetic marker called volcanic eyes, where your eyes have little pieces of. It looks like lava flying out of out of the middle, and then that's going to be a marker so that other people can identify you. It's an interesting thing that's going to happen. It's going to be like no way to hide that you have this genetic marker, and we're going to talk about the benevolence gene that it you can't hide if you have this benevolence gene. So we'll talk about that later. Um, that's going to be Charvel, and she's going to be the first person selected by Esoteric and for human enhancement by her daughter Elevena. This was the really cool printout that we made at Staples. So before I get back to my beloved drawing sheet here, I just want to tell Kurt what happened when I went to go get these printed up. I'm going to be having these prints at IC3. This is going to be the cover, the color cover for Turbo Pit Fighter #1, and it's a really nice display. I had a huge one printed out as a poster to attract people to our table or whatever. But funny story, when I go to Staples, I hand them my USB drive, and I was like, I got a couple posters on here. I want to just have them, digital prints, and they print you out this little 8x11 one, just to make sure the color's good. And I was like, no, that one needs to be brighter. So I approved a brighter version of this because it came out really dark at the beginning. And the way Staples works now, you have to go away and come back later. Otherwise, there's like a 30% charge now if they do it while you wait. And they used to always do it while I wait in my location.
Wow.
But, things are getting tougher, I guess. So you have to go away and come back. It might just be a couple hours or whatever. But I came back a day or two later, and they had printed out 20 copies of this. So my price for that is like $1.60 each, or like $1.70 or $1.80 with tax. They were all the darker one. So I asked them to they redid them, and so I get all the darker ones for free. And so now instead of having like 20, I have like 40. I don't know what it's crazy, but I don't know. I got 10 of these and then 10 of the other poster. I have poster of Pearl White Malady, a different comic that I'll be showing prints of at the show. But they always somehow screw up at Staples, but then they give you the screw ups, so you end up being a happy customer, but you just got to be patient while they fix it. And I ended up spending, I don't know, like 50 something bucks with the poster was like 20 something bucks. It looks really nice. It's the same thing except much bigger, and it's laminated. And then I paid for like 20 of these prints, but I ended up getting like twice that amount. So, sometimes the mistake is in your favor if you just hang in there. And it's really nice, the people that work at Staples, they're just like everyday people running these machines and whatnot. And they love seeing, like, when you're bringing in cool comics and posters and stuff. They're like, "Oh, this is cool." So I'm like, here's a copy. I gave them a copy of the screwed up print. I mean, the darker version. And thank you. Can you sign it? And I was like, happy. Yeah, I'm happy. If you want me to ruin the value, I'll sign it. But I was at Staples. I also looked to see if they have those Sharpie markers there. The full set of the Sharpie Creatives, which we've been raving and ranting about. They don't have the full set there, but I think they might have had a couple of sets of it before they sold out. But again, folks should, if you're into really good kind of fluid acrylic paint markers with brush tips, flexible brush tips, look into that.
Oh yeah.
So I just
changed my world.
have you been using them a lot?
Yes, and I have actually made a decision on my Crom anthology. One of the stories I'm working on right now, which is called Crom Junior. I don't have any of the pages near me, but it's like a kitty cartoon, sword and sorcery style, and I'm gonna go color on it. So it'll be printed black and white, in the first ordination of Crom Anthology #1. But I just gotta see. My brain is just hurting right now. I gotta see it in action, and I don't want to work on something separate or anything at this point. And I have to do some cover comp stuff, so I'm super excited. I'm super excited about it. So.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go off track. Don't worry. But I just want to show people these are the markers here. They're really nice. There is an extended set you can buy, but you have to be warned that we spoke about this last week. The extended set, it's bullet points, and it's similar in using them, but you just gotta love the brush point better. And so this is a really cool, fluid, slippery acrylic paint. You can smudge it too if you act quick before it dries, and really versatile. This is a pretty decent array of colors, but when you get the extended set, you get much more colors and some cool pastels that could really make the difference if you're doing a nice like original art piece. So back to that. Here I got my turbo page. So let's go over where we're at. This is page 23 of Turbo issue #2. And when Kurt gets back to it, he'll be working on issue #1. He's inking the pencils. Kurt, when you think about it, we actually have about a comic book's worth of stuff finished already. You just have to count the ink, the half of the inks on issue 1, and then 22 pages and a half are finished of pencils on issue #2. It's a lot of progress. It's just
Well,
it's
one of
just
the things I do want to I'm good. We're going to talk about when we're together. I have a whole, just so I don't want you to feel ambushed at IC3, but we're going to be stuck at a booth, not stuck in a negative. We're just going to be behind a booth from 10 to 6 for a majority of the time. So for talking points, one of the talking points is you're going to be handing off the original issue #1 pencils for me to take home and do scans. You have a cover. You've got some extra material. I don't want to put anything out there because you and I have to really sit down and chomp at it because it does take time. We only work on Sundays and a little bit outside of Sundays. But there's a chance that we could be putting together a pencil version of this, for hardcore fans or something. So you're right, though. I'm just piggybacking.
Yeah, it's
the way we work and what we're creating as we're moving. There's a lot here. Not to mention, do Mag's Substack. There's prose, there's doodles, there's a lot of concept stuff. I am very dismissive, Jake, of the has to be a comic book model. In other words, your Marvel, your DC, this thing that emerged out of the 60s and 70s and has undulated through even all the way through to now. I'd love to see something zine-ish from us. We have a teaser thing we're going with an anthology too. We could end up in a space where we're making something a little bit more consistent, especially when you're done issue 2 pencils. It's
so folks, we can announce right here. Yes, I can unveil to Kurt that I have all the pencils scanned high res. Good high res raw scans of the pencils. Have that already done. I had that done before long ago, and I think they're good scans. I think I had a scanner
when you sent me.
Oh yes.
No. I need better scans than that. Sorry. We had this discussion before. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I sent you, but I thought I had like real high res scans. Like 400 or 600 DPI grayscale.
Yeah, but you're also talking to scanning beds. You were talking about 1999 scanning bed. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, I thought it was good. We'll take a look at them, but that would save some time if they were already scanned. I do have the originals here somewhere. And you just reminded me of. We have a lot to talk about today. I have a packet here, and it's been years since we spoke about this, Kurt. But this was the original dot matrix printed out note for issue 1 in synopsis form, and this is everything that's integrated into Turbo #1. Then it goes on in rough notes. This is when we were it was a little more brutal back in these days because
we could publish that too.
Yeah, but look at
I love it.
So the tough thing is, like, it's got to be reconciled because we're so much farther along in our world building, and if you folks listen to the segments we do about the writing on the Substack, it's all of the kind of like backstory and everything. But this is going forward for Turbo and her menagerie, including going backwards in the Turbo comic in flashback when Turbo's young Turbo. There's a lot here to go through, so I'm gonna have to put the work in and just kind of redline everything. Like, okay, this is in, this is out, this is in, this is out. But at some point, this is modern right here. At some point, I think this is the early stages of our Substack. I printed out this timeline, and so this is now broken up into all different tabs on our Hellclaw website, and Kurt has been publishing them little by little in installments. If you subscribe, and you get them free in your inbox. I don't know why I just got blurry, but
You were close. Put your hand over the camera.
Yeah, that seems to work. Yeah.
No. Bring the art up. Yeah. Yeah. See, now it's nice and crisp.
Yeah.
It's that close.
Folks can see what I'm
slowly,
saying.
slowly go back.
It feels.
Oh no! It just did it. It just did it.
Um. So I'm gonna preview a haul, and Kurt says that we're gonna be doing a comics that influence next week. That's exciting because we're kind of backed up. I got this Phoebe Zeitgeist, and there's a whole backstory on Michael O'Donoghue. He was a Saturday Night Live writer and founding writer. I got this, which I guess we can't do too much with on this family-friendly podcast. Kurt, I did get something in the mail recently from Texas. Does that ring a bell?
Brett, you got Brett.
Yeah, Brett Cantrell, Lubbock, Texas. I haven't opened.
I just sent him a time to schedule his indie creator podcast interview. We still have, just to jump on, we still have two other than Mr. Tom Shalimi, comic book store owner. We got Jason Lego, and we also have Pat Higgins, Hellscape follow up. It'll be third time Pat's been with us on the Indie Creator Exchange, because before the interview, it was about his he was still inside funding his Kickstarter. So we got some really exciting stuff coming down.
Yeah. So this is these little zines I got from Jason Lego. But look what Jason Lego sent me. This is
that?
Substantial. I think it's just an anthology where he just has a little section in, but we'll take a look at that at length. We're just previewing it right now, folks. This is a tease, so you're gonna want to see that episode eventually. So last week we did an interview with an artist in France, and we spoke about Gorka, right? And he's got some really nice stuff he's working on, but he just happened to have a copy of this laying around. And this is a really weird shape. It's like a rhombus or whatever you call it. But this wasn't hard to find for like under $10. And this is the Marvel pop-up book for the X-Men with Chris Claremont art. And it's amazing. So we're going to go through all the pages of that. And there's only, you can see here, there's only maybe 10 or 12 displays. This is going to be really fun. This just brings you back to X-Men 94 and Giant Size X-Men #1. We'll see what else is in there. So when you go on, so I found it on eBay, and then I'm like, all right, shipping is like, I don't know, $6.95 or something. So what else is in this seller's store?
Right.
You click on that, and this seller was selling like 20,000 items. So there's no way to look at it all. So I just started looking for search terms, and I put in like comic, art, whatever. And I ended up buying some reasonably priced things here, which I'm going to preview. But where is? Oh shoot. Well, it's upstairs, but I got Stan Lee's How to Draw Comics. This has a lot of big name artists plus all the classics. So this will be a brief flip through, and this is different. And I got the complete Jack Kirby Shield. So this will compile in like a Fantastic Four comic, Fantastic Four number 21, and then all of the Jack Kirby stuff about Nick Fury and Shield. Oh gosh, I think I got ripped off. I see Don Heck in here. All right, I got taken with awful coloring. Anyway, did you see how quickly I get distracted?
Yes, I do.
These comics came from where did I get these comics? Oh, so I wanna. This is gonna hurt me personally, but I want everybody on Instagram. If you're listening now, number one, switch over to YouTube. You can see us better. You can see our full screens. That's always the best way to listen to us live or on tape. Is watch the same thing you're watching now, but go to our bio and find the YouTube channel. You can see it. Um, there's a guy on Instagram that sells comics, and his handle is like obscure.cmx, I think. But he puts on these comics. A lot of them are pretty reasonably priced, and he goes, just write claim in the comments, and then we'll work out the shipping and the address and everything. So I bought all these from him, and he was like, take your time paying, don't worry. He's trying to like cultivate like trustworthy customers, and I guess he might get beat one time if somebody beats him for it. But I ended up buying all this stuff for $1. Sometimes he's got a rare obscure comics for like $15 or $5 or whatever, multiple copies. But these were good deals. So I ordered the Realm. And this was something that I showed you before, and you said to hold it for you. So I'm going to give this to you, I guess. But this is another one of those. You like the insides, if you recall. I ordered. I don't know. I think he sent me some freebies in the pile. And because I'm not sure if I ordered this or if it's a freebie. This is definitely a freebie. I didn't order this, and he just sent it to me free. I never heard of Snowy Works Comic Company before, but
What year's that? See if you can just see the year real quick.
oh,
Early,
2022.
Wow.
Look at this cover, Kurt. Adults only. What the hell is going on here?
What is that?
An alien.
Pull it down. What's the title? Dimension 5?
Tales from Dimension
Tales from
5,
Dimension 5? That
featuring.
looks like a European like reprint.
I don't know, man. I think this looks like a U.S. like small print comic. It says Edge Comics, and featuring Playboy Playmate Rebecca Ferrati.
Oh, wow. Oh.
And I don't know if there's any cosplay inside, but looks like they're drawing her in this style. So I don't know if I could even flip through that on the air, but here we got Warp 3 by Equinox Comics. No idea what this is, and I think
that comic book, Tales from Dimension 5 #1's for $50 right here on eBay.
Really, maybe this is a second.
You got it for $1.
Yeah, maybe it's a second pressing. I don't know. This is Warp 3 by Outer Vision series, Equinox Comics. I got this for $1. I figured I'll take a shot, look inside, and look at this. 15 cents. Wally Wood.
Oh, yeah. They printed so many of those.
Yeah.
That was for the military.
Right.
The military ended up not wanting to distribute them, so they just ended up going back into
yes.
They just went into basically back bin boxes. So you've always been able to find them for $1.
Yeah, I had one of these before, but it was all ripped, and so now I got it in like perfect condition. And this is a lot of great Wally Wood storytelling, folks. He's great, I'm not gonna get sidetracked. So we're gonna be flipping through the internals of those on our next taping. So that's in the works. I have one more that I've left upstairs, so I'll go get it when you're talking next. And I obviously won't be listening, but what Kurt, we wanted to talk a little bit. I want to do a little turbo update here about the page I'm working on, because I'm doing page 23 in Turbo 2 when Young Turbo is going to get flipped into the sky so that they can blow the orphanage sky high using these radioactive peas. And I'm just doing the black line pencil over the blue line pencil for this. Some of these panels end up kind of heavy on dialogue, but there's no way around that, Dialogue's kind of big here.
Yeah, we
Um,
were talking about it last time. It
yeah,
was actually towards the end of the episode, so you're kind of picking up where we were leaving, where you were. I basically responded to your feeling that this is coinciding with the amount of writing you're doing for your Substack.
yeah,
So it would be natural for you to want to flood some of that in. But
here's, here's what I can say.
this we just from like issue number one. I mean, I'm going off the hook here. It's issue number one's 28 pages penciled, and I do believe like 20, gosh, probably 23, if not more, of those pages just solid action.
Right.
So,
So maybe
there, that follow up second issue really should kind of deepen
the story.
verbiage wise, just to keep people moving uh, deeper into the story, not just flipping through like, yeah, cool, all right, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm good with it. I'm not.
Well, the pages are dense, and yeah, I mean, look at that. Look at that Wally Wood. It's something that we're really aware of, and the reason why I haven't black penciled this yet is because I'm still. You can see I'm still erasing the blue line pencil. I'll show you real close. Emptied into the basin, 55 crucinium isotopes, stable if stored within 3 millimeter casings of lead, tungsten, titanium, steel, and carbon fiber. Dot dot dot. If you introduce 10 grams of tritium and 10 more of lithium 6 into close proximity, it becomes unstable. So I've already whittled this down like a couple of words here and there. Kurt, when you're making like a tweet and you don't have enough room and you just
Yeah.
kind of keep editing it and revising it. Like there was a really famous tweet with early on in the first years of Twitter when it was good, and it was like I wanted to tweet this but I didn't have time, so I'm just sending it in an email. Right? The whole point of Twitter is that it's supposed to be short, but it takes long to compose that correctly when you want to get everything you want to say to fit into 40 characters or whatever. I know it's more now, but it used to be like I think it was like 32 characters, and then it was 40 characters, and now if you pay Elon Musk, you can have unlimited characters. But um, so I'm still going to whittle this down. I'm just going to phrase it differently and maybe like cut out a sentence or something. So then I can redo the words and then just put a little more art in, so it's not that crowded. But folks, you see what I'm up against, right? So this is a problem in comics for a long time. This Wally Wood military, special comes out in 1969, or it was made in 1969. And there's a lot on the page here, 9, 10 panels on a page, but it's some pages really get bogged down with writing, right? A lot of writing on this one. Look at this one.
Good lord, see, that is too much. That's like a 50 to 50% ratio panel word to image, and that's a turnoff for most people.
So one thing we can
Did
do,
Wally write that? I think Wally wrote that, right?
I don't know. I don't know. It just says copyright Wally Wood. It doesn't really say
Yeah.
canon.
Jeez.
But it's unavoidable. What we can do differently nowadays, because we have computers, is we can put the words in without the word balloon, and that takes off like 15-20% right there. If you just put the words against like a dark background, or you just have it against a light area and just write the words over it, and it's part of the panel. It's without a balloon. So that's one thing that we can do to squeeze. And I think we do have some pages like that where we have knockout type, right, Kurt?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably do that more. And if we plan that well in Turbo here, number 2, we can expand on that. But the good news is it doesn't go on like that for that long. The next page is going to be a splash, and so you make up for it where you can.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But yeah, so right now I'm just drawing the art and the faces and the figures, and these I'm going to black pencil in, but we're working on this to try to even reduce that. Here we're going to see. This is the setup where Sister Ray is going to smash down all these radioactive peas and all these radioactive elements that I researched that are unstable when put in combination together in proximity. She's going to smash them down. And we're already starting to see like these little, not characters, but like artifacts. We're going to be drawing these little artifacts where they're like kind of glowing, and we're going to have to represent that graphically. But, Kurt, if you look here, I want you to be aware, because you're going to be inking all this, of what I'm doing. This is going to be our shorthand for quantum, like, glow or quantum.
I have it here. I have it here.
You have some of that there, right?
Yeah, I have it. I have it here. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really
Right.
cool, actually.
So this is going to be a visual language that we're going to be using to try to convey that there's, that reality is bending, and it might not look like little, specks or sparks or anything like that. So I'm trying to make it look like little, you know, characters, like ancient runes or something, but they're floating in the air. But you and I need to think about different ways to represent that visually for print. So, I know I'm just doing pencils, but by the time it gets to you, you could do a lot with that, and maybe it'd be interesting to do something with like that with reverse type too. Like going on with white after you have like a field of black or gray or something, or intermediate tones. Um, but yeah, this is going to be exciting because we're getting into the radioactive side of life, and we're really thinking deeply about how radioactivity is going to affect people's bodies in the future. And I hope that this isn't real, but I did read up on I did my research. That's one thing that Chat GPT is good for, is doing research, and there are life forms, in the Arctic ice, and in lab experiments that are resistant to radiation. There is black fungus, there's tardigrades, which are microscopic animals known as water bears colloquially, and we're just at the beginning of research whether humans can coexist with a higher level of radiation, and that might be in human evolution, folks. If we're talking millions of years from now. Kurt, we were last night. I was walking back from practice to the car with my keyboard player and my guitarist, and we're looking up in the sky. We're talking about this and that, the expanding universe, and in the future, there's going to be a day when our sun goes supernova and destroys the Earth and all the planets. And my keyboard player, Steve, he's like, yeah, but that's like a billion years from now. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. But is the human race still going to be a thing? And what will it look
Most
like?
definitely not.
What's
Most
that?
definitely not.
You
Most
think
definitely not.
we're gonna destroy ourselves first, right?
No, 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 no. We will evolve. Evolution. The way we are right now is not the way we were 50,000 years ago. Just 50,000
Yeah,
years
but
ago. So you
50,000.
take that marginal line, take
Yeah,
that margin, that margin right there for like a billion years from now, the sun's gonna go atomic on us, and basically burn out, and this is all gone. We right now, as stupid as we are, I mean, we're still apes with a whole bunch of blinking toys,
yeah,
and but we're still functioning, with uh, you know, the military type thing, you got to be married in order to procreate. I just all this like just
That's
stupid
dwindling too.
stupid shit. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people out there towing the line, that we're already going cybernetic with cell phones. There's a definition that if something's with you 100% of your time mechanically, then you are a cyborg. And then with the advent of technology and health, replacements of things. I mean, I kid my father-in-law all the time when I see him. He's got a pacemaker that's hooked up to a thing that looks like a cell phone that doctors are watching 24, systems watching. So he's a cyborg, you know what I mean? He doesn't like the idea of being
Yeah,
called a
knee
cyborg.
replacement, hip
But
replacement.
we're going to be 50,000 years from now. They're actually saying even earlier than that. We're not going to be like this.
So,
This thing just doesn't work.
folks, if you're looking at my screen and if you're on Instagram again, you can see both of our full screens on YouTube live on YouTube. This brings us to the sentience, which is going to be in our story. Now, our story is only going to be a couple of 100 years out, right? We're going to 2222, and folks, if you're watching this content in the future and you're laughing at Jake and Kurt back in 2025, just like opining on how things are going to change, I don't imagine anyone's going to hear this like in the days where you guys have evolved into like radioactive resistant space travelers. But if you are, I just want you to know we're time stamping this right now. We are conceiving of a day when computers and humans merge together. Right now, in real life, Elon Musk, the proprietor of Tesla and the controversial, guy on the Trump, advisory board or whatever, they are doing something called Neuralink, where they're going through a lot of monkeys and, I'm sure killing and disfiguring them and torturing them and everything, but they are implanting chips in brains. It's called Neuralink. This is real right now. It's going on. He has all the permits and they're doing all the research and whatever it is. So 20 years from now, Kurt, they'll be farther along science and commercial applications. There will be people, especially handicapped people, moving computer mouses and typing with their brains. We're already there. We're already there in like test, demonstrations and stuff. So, I know people in the future are probably laughing. I don't know if this YouTube channel will survive 100 years, let alone a million years or a billion years, whatever. But it's really interesting to think about because time we're also looking at now as a construct. The quantum mechanics and the scientists are saying that time might be something that we need to look at differently. And because perception and time are linked so closely when they get down to the actual quantum science, real complex stuff. But I'm really trying to do a yeoman's job of learning it all, quantum science and qubits, but it's really scary. The human animal, we're going to destroy our planet. We already are, to an extent, and we might destroy our own race before we can master space travel safely and colonizing some other location before our sun goes supernova. And the good news is you have unlimited time to figure this out, because when we're talking about a billion years, I don't even know what the figure is before our solar system goes away, but you have so much time before that happens that you might as well have infinity. And and yet it's mind-boggling to think of that we are the only known conscious life form in the universe, and we need to protect that, and we're not, and that's why we do sci-fi, folks. It's therapeutic. Um, Kurt, that picture I showed was just one of the boxes of the Tableau, the Turbo Tableau, which I think I gave you a picture of last week, right? Like folks on this.
Yeah.
Folks on the scope, I just like moved my
Well,
camera.
no, I don't. I don't know. I don't know if I do have that one. I can
All right,
double
well,
check. Yeah.
I'll do it again, but I will, if you're watching my camera, I will move it here and show you this easel. And if we bring it close,
You haven't sent me anything. I have. I do not have. Well, yeah, no, I don't have anything from the Tableau.
look at that. This is the Turbo Tableau. So Turbo is the last box here, and this is all tight pencils. We have
How large is that?
16 by 20, and then there's a margin around it, so the paper is like maybe like 18 by 22. And I made it 16 by 20 because that's a standard frame size. And I was thinking about framing this and submitting it to an art exhibition, but the deadline for that one came and went. So maybe I'll do it in something else, but I'll be able to buy a nice frame for it, and it has a margin around the outside. So this is Shankar Vaisha, the Duke, the casualties, including Esoteric Hellclaw and Shebot Cromita. Down here we got the Quantum Druids. We have Elevena 2222, the Dawn of the Sentients, and Killing to Live, Turbo Pit Fighter, our flagship character, and our comic that we're making. So that's the Tableau. And what I did for now is I took a close-up on my phone of each panel. And we could do something with that. That's why I just showed on my phone. It's pretty high res, but ultimately I would love to get a camera and set up a tripod and take a digital image of it for posterity, and then pencils, and then Kurt, you want ink on the original itself?
Nah, I wouldn't want to ink on the original. I can print out. I've done larger commission work.
How are you gonna get a
And I
print
just
out that
get
big?
I get it if I have a good, decent high res scan. Actually, I don't even really need a really high res scan. I just go to Staples and get a
That's a lot of
kind of
money.
a poster put
Yeah,
out.
that
Yeah,
size
but
is
it's
20, 25
worth.
bucks.
Yeah, but it's worth it. Like,
Okay.
come on, man. Like, don't you? I spend at least a couple minutes a week fantasizing about. Actually, this morning I was fantasizing about selling this whole thing off, this Turbo World thing off with you when we're in our 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm that kind of person. Like I think big picture, 30,000 feet above. Always planning, scheming, as some people say. And I really do appreciate the physicality of making art and that thing as an object and a collection of objects that make a really cool art show or some type of
Yeah.
presentation physically that people can walk in and
Metaverse.
around.
We're
I'm betting on it. I really am. I'm
we're
betting on
headed
it.
we're headed towards like there'll be AI, and there'll be just like templates, and you drop in images, videos, photos, audio, and then we have so many YouTube videos. We literally have like hundreds of hours,
147. That's what this episode is, and
about
then
147 hours of us chatting and talking and everything. So
yeah,
you could have that all synthesized by robots in the
yeah.
future and create a metaverse with a marquee out front. Come into the Turbo verse.
I believe what we are doing is a digital art form. It's something that is creeping in and amongst us as physical creators, people who like to push things around on paper and pens and brushes and stories and all that kind of stuff. But the thing that we're doing right now is going to have equal, if not greater, value in the future because of that. When you said when you were talking, 20 years in the future or however many years in the future where somebody's watching or listening to this content or just maybe even skimming through it as AI can go through video and read already. The thing that also came to mind, which is going to be a topic you and I are going to talk about IC3, it's actually the second topic, is when we go live with our first floppy comic of Turbo Pit Fighter. We have to have a
That
website.
floppy. We're gonna do a 10-point cover, I think, or an 8-point cover.
Yeah,
But
I know.
but but yeah,
But I'm just saying that there needs to be a place physically where I believe all of this is actively stored and people can go to it, which is going to be a pretty penny. I'm not saying it has to be immediately happening, but you and I have talked offline, and I have no problem talking about it online. Is there is a big fear of having your stuff on a platform like YouTube, and YouTube changes policies, or because this is a topic right now,
yeah, we've spoken about this.
subscription ownership, I have everything on hard drives, but I would love to have a website completely built with all of our content archived in there. And it also plays to legacy.
So yeah, that's a great point. I do have doommags.com reserved. Right now it's not doing anything, but we could point that. We could point that to Hell Club. We could point that to any app. We could point that to whatever, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. But when I spoke to somebody yesterday named Amy. It's the girlfriend of my nephew, who's my bass player, and she's going to take a crack at doing some editing for me on this Substack. So that's going to be fun. But we have an open door. If anybody's listening to this and you're a creator, we showcase other people's work and we try to promote it on our channel. But we're very open to collabs, and different people have different roles. Maybe you're a penciler, maybe you're an inker, maybe you're a writer, maybe you're an editor, maybe you're a social media person, whatever. And we are, we're working on this project as an example for other people to listen. You could hear us, pondering things, wondering what we're gonna do next, planning our steps. Like Kurt on the original art, what I might want to do is, instead of you spending $25 to print it out, something you can ink on, I might get a high res camera, take a shot of it, or a high res scan, either way, and then give you the original. Because then I can make my printout anytime I want digitally, and I can make 100 of them, digitally, and you still have something to ink on. Or we can do it the other way, where I just preserve it in pencils, But that's the question: do you want an original in pencils or inks? And I don't know. We gotta make all these decisions, before long.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned at this point because I also believe one of the magical things we're doing is the proper way of making something, which is spend a whole bunch of time being like years. We can only do this on Sundays, so every Sunday we're spending what 2 hours, you know and we're you know talking about stuff, and there's times when we do on our own time outside of the Sundays,
Yeah.
perform, making stuff and everything. But the reality is that you make a whole bunch of stuff, pages and panels and writing stories and doodles and stuff, and then you get to a point and you say, "Wow, I got a lot of stuff." let's now put it into some kind of package, and that's what's we're gonna happen. It's gonna happen very very soon. I mean, I predict we will have something out by the end of the year that people will be fawning over and sighing relief that they have something greater than a teaser. And is like a promise and a guarantee from Jake and I, as long as we're fit and alive, to keep performing our Sundays. But Jake's years away, within 5 years away from retiring.
Less.
Less than that. But that's also another topic that has to be discussed because
Well, I don't know. It could be. It could. Yeah. So I'm an art teacher in New York City, and I could retire in June of 2028, or I could continue working. So it depends if it's fulfilling.
Dude, there's no rush. There's no rush. I only bring it up that there will be a time when both of us are retired, and we are so passionate about what we do. This is part of what we do. Making a turbo comic, but it now making a podcast every Sunday is another thing that we do.
We're also making a sci-fi timeline, and we are accumulating quite a bit of writing. We're going to have a lot of written content that we can incorporate with artwork into print, and it's also living online on hailclaw.com as we release weekly bite-sized installments on Substack. So we have a good system for building this world, and that's what this Turbo Tableau is going to show people in some of the main characters and groups involved, and just kind of like it's like putting your shingle out and say, hey, this is our product line for the Turbo world, and these are our characters, and if somebody wants to get involved, pick a character. You can do some original writing, comics, art, whatever, or you could use one of our free scripts, and and turn the writing into comics. We have the topics, and it all kind of leads into Turbo Pit Fighter when she's around 24 years old. That's when current Turbo comics are taking place. And and we did something that it's a lot of work in sci-fi, but we said the year. How like Star Wars doesn't say the year, they're like a long time ago in a galaxy far away. Right. Once you start doing the year, then you got to really keep things straight, so the continuity.
So Jake, we're 10 minutes after 11. We're 20 minutes away from an interview with Tom Cellini, who owns a couple comic book stores south of me, down in Delaware and Virginia. That not only are we going to talk about the state of comic book stores and comic book distribution, Diamond Out is in bankruptcy, and there's a big decision coming around the corner on whether they're actually going to still be in existence in April. I spent some time with Tom this past week, and because I was down that way, and picked up some great comics that I'll also be flipping through, as well as him being a comic book store owner. He is also a publisher and a writer, so there's going to be a lot going on with Tom in the conversation. He has verified that he's poised and ready to get on, so I think we need to just close down this episode and wish these people well. Look forward to seeing what they're doing in the way of making comic books. We need more and more people out there to make them. Not be afraid of the big bad wolf from not having enough distribution. Because we're an art form and we're going to survive. So there's no doubt about it in my being. So with that being said, Jake, do you want to take us out?
Yes, folks, thanks for watching. And if you got this far, check out our other channels. We have Comics That Influence, where we do flip-throughs. We previewed some covers, and this way you get to go through the internals. Sometimes we do the whole book. Sometimes we don't do the whole book. And we have our Indie Creator Exchange, which we're just about to tape an episode of. If you're watching this in the future, go back to our different channels, and you can see lots of different comics, lots of different artists, and lots of different interviewees that we spoke to, who all have a lot of great stuff out there. So we'll see you live next Sunday, and on tape. anytime in your feed. See y'all. See you in the comics. See you in the funny pages.
And I'll see you next Sunday, Jake.
All right.